yes, we're trying to organize the National Guard. We're also not trying to be weird apologists that are like, you're not allowed to be mad that the National Guard is occupying your neighborhood with guns, right? Like, yeah, actually, if you want to protest that and be mad about that, go for it. We're trying to organize them. And we have a strategy where we think pushing them together with ICE is actually really unstrategic, right? Because right now, National Guard people are like, oh, I don't want to be lumped in with ICE. That's a different thing. I signed up to help with floods or whatever, right? Like, I'm not trying to be them. But if we position them as, if we lump them together, then we're potentially pushing them into solidarity with ICE in a way that is counterproductive to our goals. So just thinking about like when you have these frontline fights that are happening around particularly ICE raids and military occupation, like use us as a resource. We're here for it to like help think about, hey, what, how can we flank you in that, and like organizing the National Guard and also hosting trainings and things like that that can help people think through how do you talk to your friend or family member in the National Guard who might be getting mobilized around this. And how do you think about relating to the National Guard without watering down your resistance tactics? Because that's certainly not the goal.
I completely agree with all of that. And just to be really concrete about some of the things that like our allies, or the ways in which you can flank us as not only Blue Ocean Law, but all of our sort of community-based organizations. Nick Flores, who's on the call, for example, she leads Pertehi Latexan or Pertehi Guahan. And that's an organization that I would say is at the absolute forefront of sort of opposing the military industrial complex on Guam, and they need support. For example, they tried to rally, and they're still rallying all of our potential allies and partners to submit comments in opposition to the United States' attempt to exploit deep sea minerals off of our waters. So this is something, it's concrete and it's happening right now. I believe there is a rumor that there will be a 30-day extension, and I think that will be announced in the next few hours. We just found out. But if that's true, we have 30 days to sort of rally support. It would be amazing to get thousands of comments opposing this particular proposal, that's going to affect both the indigenous peoples of Guam and the CNMI. Also, just directly supporting organizations like Pertehi, Guahan in Guam, or ISA's organization, our Commonwealth 670 in Saipan. These are really concrete ways to support, and they're like low lifts in some ways. Just support these two organizations, period. And then two is help us make connections. We've been somewhat successful recently with organizations. There's three that I'll mention. Earth Justice, they've been really, really good as allies. Center for Biological Diversity, and both of those together have helped us sort of contest what's happening on our lands and in our seas with regard to ecological degradation, right? But also the Center for Constitutional Rights has recently also helped us. Blue Ocean Law, my firm, filed these basically human rights complaints against what the U.S. military is doing in a violation of our right to self-determination and our right to free, prior, and informed consent. So even like supporting those organizations and helping us reach others. A third and final example is uh, there's another organization called the Pacific Radiation Area of Radiation Survivors, PARS. It's led by someone named Robert Celestial. This organization is also trying to have RICA amended for downwind compensation, and it's been a ridiculous struggle, but we don't have enough powerful, influential members in Congress to take up that cause. We need more. So to the extent that we could get some support with that, that's another concrete thing that we could use.
I know that we ask you such big questions and ask for such short pieces of the answers. And I know that we're going to have to close really soon, but I just want to share out the two questions that are in the chat and see if you want to drop a very quick response to them. There's Patrick's question, which is about in anti-militarism work, we often see intersections with environmental justice, legal advocacy, decolonization, defending democracy against authoritarianism. How can adopting an intersectional movement of movements framework that's built on solidarity and cooperation help us not only break down thematic boundaries, but overcome professional silos to strengthen organizing? And another big one. And again, if you have just any quick top of the head thoughts, this conversation doesn't have to get completed today. Paul's asking, how do we sound an alarm without being received as alarmists? And sorry, I was trying to go short, but as I'll have mentioned, we're at an inflection point. When I hear that, I understand that there really isn't anything to go back to, and I'm fine with that, but it begs for a very plain answer of what to do in these desperate times.